The beloved is all, the lover just away. The beloved is all, the lover just away. The beloved is living, the lover is a death something. The beloved is living, the lover is a death something. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. How will I be awake and aware if the light of the beloved is absent? How will I be awake and aware if the light of the beloved is absent? The beloved is all, the lover just avail. If love withdraws his strength and his care, the lover is left like a bird without wings. If love withdraws his strength and his care, the lover is left like a bird without wings. The beloved is all, the lover is must avail. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. Love wills that this world be brought forth, so that His play may unfold. Love wills that this world be brought forth, so that His play may unfold. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. If you find the mirror of the heart dull, the dust has not been cleared from his face. If you find the mirror of the heart dull, the dust has not been cleared from his face. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. The beloved is all, the lover just avail. If you want the mirror of the heart clean, apply the practice of meditation. If you want the mirror of the heart clean, apply the practice of meditation. The beloved is all, the lover just a veil. The beloved is all, the lover just a veil. When the rose is gone and the garden faded, you will no longer hear the nightingale's song. When the rose is gone and the garden faded, you will no longer hear the nightingale's song. The beloved is all, the lover just a veil. The beloved is all, the lover just a veil. So this is a beautiful song by Maulana Rumi, in which he tells us that the beloved is all and we are just nothing, like something dead, like a corpse. So this is the parameter between the divine and the human. The condition of God, the Supreme Being, and the condition of we, human beings. The beloved is all, is alive, it's everything, and we are just nothing. Like a dead something. So we are so proud of we, the race of human beings. We think to be so important, to be so much. But according to those who see reality, the human condition is a disaster. Because we are so stuck into our small world, our small personality, our life, our attachments, our greeds, that we can see a centimeter beyond our nose. So the reality is so immense, and we are stuck in a small cage, which is our small life. What belongs to us, what we think we are. Our desires, always wanting more and more, never happy with what we have. So this is like being encaged into a small world with no exit. So how do we get out of this small world of ours and experience something wide, something huge? How do we become from a small being into a broad being? As you said, masters are broad beings. because they have a wide consciousness. And we are a tiny consciousness, locked up in our attachments. So in order to get out of this, we have to find a way to get out of this, our mentality, our psyche, what we think we are. And what we think we are mostly. Mostly we think we are this body. Who are you? I'm this. This body. We care so much about our clothing, our look, our what the others think about us. We are so stuck in all these tiny things. So we have to get out of the cage of the body and the even bigger cage of the mind. What keeps us stuck into the body? It's our mind, it's our thoughts. They are like a dam that impede the flow of our consciousness towards the cosmic consciousness. And as soon as the thought process is smoothed down, quiet, silent, then the inner door opens. And then when the inner door opens, most of us become scared because we are getting out of this tiny world. Just like a bird who has been closed up in a cage for a long period, and you open the small door of the cage, and it won't fly out in the beginning because scared of what's outside there, maybe bad birds that will eat me up. So we are afraid of getting out of this body, even if we get the chance, even if at some point, by the grace of God, we begin feeling withdrawing from the body, then we become scared most of the time. Most of the people, when they go into deep meditation and they begin feeling withdrawing from the body, they become scared. Because it's a world that we don't know. It's this world, as small as it is, seems to be very consistent. Because we are used to it. Flying out of the body into the open space, it's an unknown something. We don't know what it is. So we are afraid. But we are afraid as far as we don't really get out of the body. Once we get out of the body, then it's pure bliss, pure ecstasy, and we are flooded with light. So we are afraid of getting out of the door. But once we get out of the door, then we are not afraid anymore, because we experience that nothing to be afraid of. It's just pure bliss, pure ecstasy and joy. So that's when we begin to be alive. Only when, by the grace of God, we step into the light, we dive into the light. Then the light brings with itself bliss, ecstasy, intoxication. And we become drunk with God's intoxication. And then the fear is gone. And we become so joyful, so happy. Never we may experience the kind of happiness if we don't experience this phenomenon of getting out of the body and diving into the light. That's what happened to me when I first meditated with Master Kirpal. Usually it is said, you come on a spiritual path, you begin reading the teachings and study the holy books, then begin practicing discipline and a strict life. And then after many years of this, you may experience something spiritually. Well, I can say for many people can be like this, but for me it was not like this. The very first time I meditated with Master Kirpal, I experienced this phenomenon of just flying out of the body and diving into the light. And I was not afraid at all. I went into such a state of bliss and intoxication. Such a happiness overtook my being, which I never experienced before. Not even far away any shadow of it. So, if we get out of this body, then fear of death and fear of life will be gone. In this life, we are so afraid of so many things. As uncertainties of life, what may happen to us, what may happen to the world, what may happen to this humanity. And in this time, I must say, we can very well ask ourselves what's going to happen to us. But eventually, what may happen to us? Even if there is an atomic war, what will happen to us? You know what it means, an atomic war? It means that in a second, you are roasted. And you are finished. And when you're finished, what happens? The body is finished, but you can never be finished. You just find yourself in this sea of consciousness, of light, of love and bliss. So we shouldn't be afraid of anything, because eventually the worst thing, according to our understanding, that may happen to us is to die. According to these, most of the people, that is the most horrifying something. The supreme fear. But it happens in a second, and you find yourself swimming in a sea of light. So nothing to be afraid of. Let it be the way God wants. Just surrender, surrender. That's the word. Complete surrender to the will of God and complete acceptance of His will. We can change nothing of His will. And we can change nothing about what's going to happen to ourselves as a person and to this humanity and this planet. So let it be according to the will of God, because God has a plan, not just for this planet. This planet is nothing in the universe. I mean, this planet is nothing, we can say, even in the solar system. There is nothing in this galaxy. And there are trillions of galaxies in this universe. So what is this? Just a tiny nothing. And we are in this tiny nothing, even smaller nothing. But the paradox is that the small nothing, it's everything. We are nothing, and we are the all. We are in the all, and the all is in us. But we have to realize it. We have to experience it, because conceptual is not enough. To understand it mentally is not enough. It's already something, because first we think something about anything. The first thing is thoughts. That's the root cause of everything. Then we talk about that something, and then we actualize it. That's the process of creation about everything. So we think about something, we talk about it, It becomes more and more a fact in our life, and then eventually becomes reality. So the beloved is all, and we are like a dead something. But this dead something contains the beloved. But we need to experience this and to realize it for ourselves. Then all the fears and all the uncertainties of life, they just disappear. And we become very confident. We become very trusting about God's protection for us. Because that's how it goes. Once you become drenched with the divine presence, then this divine presence takes care of you and all your needs, all your everything. And the life becomes a very fantastic something. And we see miracles on all sides. And we realize that this protective hand of God is all the time on our head and in our life, and guides all small aspects of it. So the more we are tuned in with the holy presence of God, the more that takes care of all the aspects of our life. So the saying that goes like, put God above everything, first thing, then all the rest will be given to you. It's true. Once we become conscious of this incredible reality that the divine is, and we experience it, then all of our needs will be met. And we will see that we will be so protected in an amazing way. And things for which other people may run into incredible troubles, they won't happen to us. You know, when I was young, in Italy, there was still the law that you have to go into the army. You were compelled. You had no choice. You couldn't say, no, I don't want to come because I don't like it. No, you had to go by any means, otherwise you end up in jail. But I was so convinced that I wouldn't go to the army, and I will not go, that's all. So what to do? I mean, just to show that, I mean, this protective hand, it was always in my life. And I can see now backwards, even many years before I met Master Kirpal, I was always so protected about so many other facts about which other people really ran into troubles. Friends of mine and people I knew. So I thought, what to do? Well, I thought, well, I go to a psychiatrist and I will tell that I suffer of claustrophobia, is in English also, that I can be in a closed place like that, then I will go mad. So I went to a doctor like that in the town when I was living at the time in Milan. And I told this man, look, I can't, they sent me the call to go to the army, but I can't go to the army because I can't be locked up in a place like that. I become crazy. And he said, okay. He became convinced that I was telling the truth. It was not the truth, I'm sorry. I didn't suffer of this kind. So he wrote a paper and he said, this boy is suffering of this problem, so you should do something with it. So eventually I went to the place where I had to begin this army life, which was assigned to me, which was near Turin. And so as soon as I arrived, I gave this paper to the people who were checking, the people who were boys who were arriving. And he took it and he said, okay, then you go into this, there was a kind of a small hospital, something in this army place. And see what, we see what to do with you. So in the afternoon, they came to me and they said, okay, tomorrow you will go to Turin, to the army hospital, and they will decide what to do with you. So the next day I went by train, they took me to Turin, me and there were also some others. So eventually I ended up in front of the doctor, and I had long hair, and he looked at me and said, before I consider anything with you, you just go and get your hair cut. I said, oh my God. I was hoping that I could go back home without even cutting my hair. But no, they cut my hair. So I went back to him, and he said, what's with you? I said, just read what is written there. And he read, and he said, I don't believe a word of this. So you will just go back to the army. But okay, he said, I don't know why, but I just give you 3 days free. You go home, 3 days, and then you go back to the army. But with this, he made the biggest mistake, because I didn't have to go back to the same hospital or to the army before going to the Milan army hospital. And then there was a very nice man. He liked me, and he said, okay, I'll give you a month off. And then we will see. So he gave me a month off. I went home, spent a month like this. Then I went back, and he said, how do you feel? I said, oh, even worse. So he said, okay, I give you 2 months, I think, 2 or 3 months. And then you come back and see what's happening. So after 3 months, I went back, and he said, how do you feel? I said, nothing better. So he said, okay, you're off, finished with the army thing. So I didn't go to the army. But friends of mine, when they saw that I succeeded this way, they thought, we'll do the same. Some of them ended up in the mental hospital, some of them ended up in jail, you know? Yeah. So that's what it means to be protected by God, you know? To have this blessing in your life, that there is somebody up there that takes care of you. And this is just an event. There were many others like this, similar to this. So, yeah, it's very good to be born with a star over your head, over your life, that takes care of you. And in a smaller or bigger measure, all of us on the path do experience these kind of things, to be protected in many ways. So this is because we are into a protective field. That's what initiation is about. That's what Sharan is all about, coming into the refuge of the Master. They talk so much, if you listen to these bhajans we sing, they talk so much about Sharan, support and refuge of the Guru. And it's very true. I have experienced it so much in my life. When I came here in the beginning, it was such a hard life. You can't imagine what was the condition of this place when I came here. And for 1 year, I was all alone. I met so many challenges, so many difficulties. But you can see after 45, 46 years, what is this place? It has become what it has become. And it was really by the grace of God, by the grace of my Master, that this place has become what it has become. So then Rumi says, if love withdraws his strength and his care, the lover is left like a bird without wings. So that's the play on the spiritual path. Sometimes you're flooded with light, with grace, and sometimes this grace is withdrawn from us for several reasons. And then we feel really like a bird without wings. And we realized that all the experiences we had before, all the grace that came upon us, it was just a gift. It was a boon. It was a grace from the beloved Master. And when we draw this grace, then we find ourselves with our face flat on the ground. And then we have to raise from that. And this is very important. One shouldn't give up because the grace has been withdrawn and I feel back again into my small being, unable to receive the grace which I was receiving before. Unable to meditate, unable to live the kind of life which we used to live when we were in the grace of God. So at that point, one should never give up, but keep praying and trying. And by and by, it will come back again. Or at some point, all of a sudden, it will come back again. Maybe you go back to a retreat, you meet the Master, you go to a Satsang, and this flow of grace will begin again flowing into you. So, never give up. Never surrender. Just keep doing your practice. There are so many tests on the spiritual path. We need to go through phase and go through and raise above. Because it is something very precious. Realizing truth, realizing God, raising above this human miserable condition is not a small something, it's a very big something. And the divine is a very precious something. And precious things you do not get for nothing. You have to show that you really mind about that and you really want it. And when the grace comes, it's not because we are anything special. It's just because the grace of God is directed towards us. And when it's withdrawn, then we have to show that we are ready for anything, any sacrifice in order to get it back. And we don't give it up. And we persist and persevere until it comes back. How will I be awake and aware if the light of the beloved is absent? So that's how it is. When the light of the beloved is absent, how will I be awake and aware? We fall back into our oblivion state. And we have to find a way out again. And the way is always the best way. It's associating with the Master. Myself, in all those many years I associated with Sanji, those 20 years, I also went through many ups and downs. So many problems in life that you have to face in order to become a real human being. But I always kept going and always went every year to attend a retreat with the Master or more than one. If he came to the West, I always tried to go wherever possible. And each retreat with him, it was such a blessing, such an upliftment. The gate of grace opened up again, and I was so blessed always. And it was like this up to the end. I can say that the last retreat I had with Sanji was the best of my life. It was in Terni, 1996. That was the best fun I had with him. I was in such a high state of consciousness all the time. So you have to keep going, never give up, never surrender. And eventually the door of grace, the gate of grace will be open again for us. It's worthwhile. It's the best thing we can do in life. Nothing can be compared to this. Friends, family, money, fame, and power, they are just illusions that, like donkeys, make us turn around. Then it says, love is that this world be brought forth so that his play may unfold. So why all this story? Why is it happening? This is his play. In India says God's Leela, or the play of God. Just like we bring children in this world to play with them and to see ourselves projected in them, in the same way God brings us into existence so as to play with us somehow. Sometimes it's a cruel play, but yet it's a play. And he amuses himself by seeing this creation happen in the way it happens. Can you imagine a consciousness, an intelligence that can inhold all this big universe and be aware of every aspect, every part of it, every direction and every happening? It's just amazing and incredible. How can such an intelligence be so huge and vast to englobe not only this physical universe, but also the astral universe, the causal universe? It's such a huge something. When you say infinite, it's infinite. No beginning, no end. Completely out of any possible understanding of ours. Our mind cannot conceive at all what it is. It's so huge. Because our mind is limited into certain walls, certain parameters. And that's completely out of any possible understanding of ours. It can only be experienced, and it can only be known by identifying yourself with it. It's not something that you study, page by page, and you understand at the end what it is. No, it's immedesimazione. You have to become that. Then you know what it is. And once you get out of it again, you forget, because it's so huge that with this mind, you can have a memory of what it is, but can never fully remember, fully know what it is unless you become that. So you know that when you become that. And when you get out of that, you don't know anymore. Because it's so huge. Then he says, if you find the mirror of the heart dull, the dust has now been cleared from his face. That means if you find that our being is dull, is dirty, not clear, and we don't have a clear vision, it's because we don't act. We don't apply the practice of meditation to clear off our consciousness. Then it becomes dull. It's like in a house, in a room in which you never take off the dust or the spider webs. It becomes an unlivable something, a very disgusting something. So if you want it nice and clear, you have to get out of the dust, wash the floor, and make it nice. The same is our being. We can't just leave it go the way it goes, No, you have to act and keep cleaning this place to make it shine. And the way of making it clean is introspection, meditation. Watch yourself, where you're going. Where are your tendencies taking you? Keep correcting the condition and direct it towards the light, towards the truth and reality. Don't just leave yourself to, like a beast going according to your instincts and desires. That's the dust that makes the face of this mirror that we are dull. So we clean it and we try to find silence and peace and light through our meditation, through our bhajan singing, charge up the atmosphere, and then try to go deep in meditation and enjoy the peace. And then you keep your mirror always clean and your perception will always be sharp. And that makes life beautiful, special. Not just an ordinary life in which you have awareness of nothing. You don't even awareness of what you talk about. People keep repeating the same things day by day. They are not even aware that they are just talking nonsense all the time. There's the food they had the day before, critiques towards this or the other one, how to make money, how to this and that. It's just stupidity. It's an empty life with no meaning. So we want to have spiritual perception, spiritual insight, and live a meaningful life. When the rose is gone and the garden faded, you will no longer hear the nightingale's song. The rose is gone, the garden faded, it's our life. So if our life has been spent in a conscious way, we will die in a conscious way. If you spent in an unconscious way, with no awareness whatsoever of reality, then the rose is gone, the garden has faded, the life, bird of life has flown away. And what these people do, once they die with no awareness whatsoever, they don't go into the beyond. They stay around this world, roaming around their attachments, possessions. They don't even go into the light. They stay here, in this physical atmosphere. But if you lived a different life, you have done your meditation and you have increased your awareness, expanded your consciousness, then where you will go? You will go into such a bright light. Nothing to compare with this sun, which we can't even look at, but that's so much more. Master Kirpal used to say, 1,000 suns cannot deal with the air of Satnam, which is total light. So this is the life we want to live. A life dedicated to self-realization and God's realization. And no matter how difficult it is, no matter how we have to face ourselves and our personal problems, our limits, we do it anyway, and we try our best. It's worthwhile. It's the best life you can dream of. So this song of Rumi, I always like it. It's a very beautiful song, and to me, Rumi is my, how to say, my ideal, my idol as a poet. And a number of his songs have given a melody, and I like them very much. And these also, this melody I gave to this song. It was just a poem. So we thank Rumi for this very beautiful song, this very beautiful poem, and the teachings contained in it. We take the teachings to our heart and we try to apply them to our life. Then we are using what we have. Otherwise, if you don't use it, what's the use? It won't help us. If you have a tool, you can use it to do something. You don't just leave it there, unused. So thank you for listening. May God bless us all.